The chapel smelled faintly of lilies and polished wood, a scent Lily had imagined would always remind her of happiness. Instead, it pressed against her chest like something heavy and unforgiving. She stood at the altar, white dress pooling around her feet, bouquet trembling in her hands. Every eye in the room was on her, but not the way she'd dreamed. The music had stopped 5 minutes ago. 10. Her fiancé was supposed to be smiling at the end of the aisle, teasing her for being nervous, whispering that everything would be okay. But the aisle was empty. Painfully, undeniably empty. Lily glanced toward the doors again, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure the guests could hear it. A few people exchanged glances. Someone coughed. Her mother dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, confusion slowly turning into dread. Her phone buzzed. She froze. With shaking fingers, Lily slipped it from beneath her bouquet. The screen lit up with a single message. No apology, no explanation long enough to soften the blow. I can't do this. I'm not ready to raise someone else's kid. I'm sorry. The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. Not ready. After 3 years. After promising Noah he'd finally have a father who stayed. Lily swallowed hard, forcing herself to breathe. She looked toward the front row where her son sat in a tiny suit, legs swinging, smiling proudly at her. He didn't understand why everyone was staring. He didn't understand that his existence was the reason someone had just walked away. Her chest cracked open. Whispers began to ripple through the chapel like a cruel breeze. Guests shifted, sympathy turning into discomfort. A few people stood, unsure whether to stay or leave. The officiant cleared his throat but said nothing. Lily lifted her chin, refusing to collapse. Not here, not in front of her child. But her hands shook, and a tear slipped free, sliding down her cheek. This was supposed to be her new beginning. Instead, it felt like proof that love always came with conditions, and she would always be the one left standing alone. The silence after the message felt louder than any scream. One by one, guests began to stand. Chairs scraped softly against the floor, each sound another reminder that the moment was over. Someone murmured, "Poor thing," as they passed. Another avoided Lily's eyes entirely. Pity was worse than cruelty, it lingered. Lily's mother reached for her, whispering, "Come, sweetheart." But Lily didn't move. Her legs felt rooted to the marble beneath her feet. If she stepped away now, this day would forever be remembered as the moment she was abandoned. She refused to let that be the last image burned into her son's memory. Noah frowned from the front row. "Mommy," he called softly. That single word shattered what little control she had left. Lily's vision blurred, but she forced a smile and nodded at him. "I'm okay," she lied. The officiant cleared his throat again. "Perhaps we should." The chapel doors suddenly swung open. The sound echoed like thunder. Every head turned. A tall man in a dark tailored suit stepped inside, rain clinging to his coat as if he'd come straight from a storm. His presence shifted the air instantly, commanding, controlled. Daniel Wright, CEO of Wright Industries. The man Lily answered to every weekday morning. Her heart skipped violently. Why is he here? Daniel scanned the room once, his sharp gaze taking in the abandoned aisle, the stunned guests, the bride standing alone. His jaw tightened. Without hesitation, he walked forward, each step deliberate, confident, unstoppable. Whispers erupted. As that, "What's he doing here?" Lily's breath caught as Daniel stopped beside her. Up close, she noticed things she never had at the office, the crease between his brows. The quiet fury in his eyes. He leaned closer, his voice low enough that only she could hear. "Don't listen to them," he said. She stared at him, tears trembling on her lashes. "You shouldn't be here." "I know," he replied calmly. "But you shouldn't be standing here alone either." Before she could respond, Daniel turned slightly, positioning himself at her side, close enough to block the stares, close enough to feel real. The murmurs faded into shocked silence. For the first time since the message arrived, Lily felt something unexpected settle over her trembling heart. Safety. Lily's pulse thundered in her ears as Daniel remained beside her, solid and unmovable. She could still feel the heat of his presence, grounding her when her world was tilting apart. The guests watched in stunned silence, waiting for someone, anyone, to explain what was happening. Daniel leaned closer, his voice calm but urgent. "Trust me," he murmured. Before she could ask what he meant, He lifted his hand and gently adjusted the veil slipping from her hair. The touch was respectful, careful, yet it sent a ripple of warmth through her frozen limbs. "What are you doing?" she whispered, panic mixing with disbelief. His eyes met hers, steady and unwavering. "Saving you from this moment," he said softly. Then, quieter still, the words that changed everything, "Pretend I'm the groom." Lily's breath caught. "Daniel, this is insane." "Maybe," he admitted, "but walking out alone will hurt more." The officiant stood frozen, unsure whether to stop or run. Daniel straightened, his arms settling around Lily's waist with a confidence that silenced every whisper. He turned to the room, his voice firm and unmistakably authoritative, the same voice that commanded boardrooms. "There's been a misunderstanding," Daniel said evenly. "The ceremony will continue." Gasps rippled through the chapel. Lily's knees threatened to give out. Her instincts screamed to flee, but then she felt his hand tighten slightly, a silent promise that he wouldn't let her fall. She swallowed hard and nodded once. "Okay," she whispered. "Just don't let him see me break." Daniel's jaw clenched. "I won't." The officiant hesitated, then slowly resumed. We are gathered here today." As vows began, Lily's mind raced. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. Yet when Daniel turned toward her, his expression softened, something raw and protective flickering beneath his controlled exterior. When it was his turn to speak, he didn't recite empty words. "I vow to stand," Daniel said, his voice steady, especially when it's difficult. "To stay when leaving would be easier." Lily's eyes burned. Those weren't lines. From the front row, Noah slipped out of his seat and padded toward them. Lily's heart lurched, but Daniel knelt instantly, meeting the child at eye level. "Hi," he said gently. "I'm Daniel. Is it okay if I stand here with your mom?" Noah studied him, then nodded. "She gets sad when people leave." Daniel's gaze lifted back to Lily, fierce and certain. "I'm not leaving," he said. And for the first time that day, Lily believed him. The words, "You may kiss the bride," hung in the air, unreal and dangerous. Lily's breath caught as the chapel erupted into hesitant applause, confused, uncertain, but growing louder with every second Daniel didn't step away. He didn't rush. He didn't hesitate either. Instead, he leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull back. She didn't. The kiss was brief, gentle, meant for dignity rather than passion, but it sent a tremor through her chest. When Daniel drew back, his forehead rested lightly against hers, shielding her from the stares one last time. "We're done," he murmured. "You did great." As guests filtered out, buzzing with questions, Lily finally felt the weight of everything crash down on her. Her hands began to shake uncontrollably. Daniel noticed instantly and guided her toward a quiet side room, closing the door behind them. The silence broke her. "This was supposed to be fake," she whispered, tears spilling freely now. "You didn't have to do all that." Daniel removed his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. "I know," he said. "But you deserved better than an exit." She looked up at him, mascara streaked, heart bare. "Why?" He exhaled slowly, as if choosing honesty over caution. "Because I watched you for 2 years carry more than anyone should, and still show up strong. And because no one should be punished for loving their child." Her breath hitched. A small knock came at the door. Noah peeked in, clutching the ring pillow. "Mommy, are we okay?" Lily knelt and pulled him into her arms. Before she could answer, Daniel crouched beside them. "We're more than okay," Daniel said gently. "We're a team today." Noah considered this seriously, then smiled. "I like teams." Later, when the chapel was empty and the day had softened into quiet, Lily stood beside Daniel under the fading afternoon light. "This changes things," she said. "Yes," Daniel replied, "but only if you want it to." She studied him, the man who stepped in when the world stepped away. For the first time, love didn't feel like a risk she faced alone. "Let's take it one day at a time," Lily said. Daniel nodded. "I'm very good at staying." And this time, the promise felt real.